Once again, from the studios of UNO Television on the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha, consider this, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
The countdown is on as cycling enthusiasts gear up to celebrate Nebraska's heritage. Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, BRAN, or Bicycle Ride Across Nebraska. Joining us to talk more about it are Wes Galusha, a ride organizer, Tom Peshek, a resident from Brainerd. His town was on the map last year, and Katie Schroeder. Katie will be one of hundreds participating in the big event. Thank you all for being here and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Wes, before we talk about this year, let's talk about and cycle back, right? Previous years in the history of BRAN.
Sure. BRAN started as a Northwest Rotary fundraising event. In 1980, the new Northwest Rotary was looking for something to do to make a difference in our community. And one of our members had gone on another state's bicycle ride. And after completing that ride, came back and said to the club, this is a great opportunity, but I saw some things that we can do better. And so Ray Weinberg, who is this individual, said, let's do a ride across Nebraska. And so in 1980, they started this ride, which went from Omaha to western Nebraska. Now, anybody from Nebraska knows that the water flows downhill from the mountains to the Missouri River and that the winds blow west to east. So that first year, all the riders had were headwinds and hills the whole time. So we've learned a few things across the years.
Wow, okay, and you have themes associated with each year, right?
Yes, we do.
So tell us about the theme for this year.
Oh, we're really excited about this year's theme. It's Celebrate Nebraska Heritage Tour. And what we are doing is looking at the people and the community and the products that are created here in Nebraska and celebrating those things that are Nebraskan in beginnings, you know, and we're looking at some of the people like Johnny Carson. We're going through his neighborhood. John G. Nyhart, we're staying overnight in his hometown. Red Cloud, and so many actors and so many products are made here in Nebraska that we want to bring a highlight to those.
Well, I find it interesting because I would imagine your themes are endless. You know, sitting around the table, when do you actually start thinking about what's going to be happening theme-wise, logistically, and so forth with this event?
This is a huge endeavor, and everyone who works in BRAN is a volunteer. There are no paid people with BRAN at all. And we start literally 2 years in advance trying to plan for the next year's ride. And because this is all volunteers, we have to organize everybody's calendar together and get into committees which pick the route, which pick the towns, which picks the theme. We create the jerseys, the t-shirts, the posters. Everything that goes along with that is created by volunteers, and we have to have that done in a timely manner. So we're 2 years ahead of time.
Wow, okay, and a map as well, of course, so that people understand what the route will entail. So we have that. If you could just Walk us through, Wes, what people can expect along the way here.
Okay, we're going to start in Rushville this year, which is a wonderful starting town. And Rushville, in the middle of the Sandhills to Cody, is a relatively flat ride that first day. We have 476 total miles, as the graphic shows there. And going into Springview, we go through the Niobrara River Valley. And that is quite a hill. As you're climbing up out of the Niobrara Valley, you hit what you think is the top, only to find out that there's yet another climb. And that sometimes separates those who are good hill climbers from those who are great hill climbers. Going across the state, we're going to Atkinson and Verdigris, where they have some of the best kolaches in Nebraska, Laurel and Lyons, and ending up in Waterloo this year.
Wow. And Tom, your town was on a map last year.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about your town and how you were selected to be part of all of this.
Well, Brainerd is a town of about 350 people, and Bran is, it was a big deal for us. Brainerd is located about 55 miles west of Omaha, so it really is a good location for the last overnight stop. And we have a high school, East Butler High School, so their facilities were made available. And facilities like that are necessary for the showers and the restrooms and shelter in case there'd be bad weather. And then we also have some experience. I think we have had Bran 3 times now in the last 20 years. So we had an idea what to do, so that may have made a difference too, why we were selected.
Okay. And what have you learned having done this 3 times?
Well, you know, it is a community event. It takes, I think every organization in town was involved. Everybody works together. You have a lot of fun, and it's quite a bit of work. But you meet a lot of neat people, and it's just a very positive thing. I think people in town have really enjoyed it, and it's a chance to showcase your community. And before Bran came, it seemed like there was a little uptick in lawns being mowed and everything. Just everybody wanted things to look nice, and so it's, you know, it's a good thing for the town. And then you meet people. You meet people from throughout the state and other states as well. I remember last year there was a lady, I think she taught at a college in Florida, I don't quite remember, but she was saying that she had bicycled on organized tours through every state except 2 or 3. And so that's what she did for her summer vacations, I guess. But so you meet a lot of people, a lot of nice people.
Okay, Tom, this is your big chance now for people who've not been to Brainerd. You talked about showcasing, right, your town. So what is the big deal about Brainerd? What are we going there to experience?
Well, I think the riders come and they see a friendly town. And I think to start that off, the women's club in Brainerd had a kind of a reception center. And we have a winery northeast of town, and there were a few gifts there as people came into town. But it's a town of, well, as I said, we have a high school. We have Frontier Co-op is headquartered there, which is quite a large co-op now, a very large co-op. We have some real strong businesses. We have several people that have developed businesses on their own, just entrepreneurial type enterprises that have really done well. And I think we're just that type of town. Brainerd's always been noted as a clean town, as an attractive town. We have a couple parks, one really right downtown, another one only about a block away. The swimming pool's another block away. So, and the high school is downtown. It's only about a block really from the central business area. So everything is close. So when people come there, they're not walking all over. You know, everything is close, and that was nice too. I mean, that makes it nice. And another thing I'd point out, we have a couple brothers, Rasky brothers, that have quite a collection of farm equipment, cars, and motorcycles. And they always open that up to people to see, and I think people have enjoyed seeing that. And of course, there's no charge for any of that. It's just something that people enjoy.
Wow. And Wes, it's that kind of stuff, right? You were talking about how people participate from Nebraska, but even Nebraskans haven't, really truly experienced the small town. But then you talk about the visitors from out of the state, right? Things that Tom is describing really give them a good sense of what the state is all about, right?
Absolutely. We have had over 46 states represented in our ride, and 9 foreign countries, I believe, have participated in our ride. People from those countries have participated in the ride as well, and they are seeing the very best of what we have to offer. We have people from the urban areas going to rural areas, meeting people, understanding that we need to talk to understand, because sometimes we seem to have opposing viewpoints of how tax money needs to be shared, and that dialogue has come up more and more as we travel across the state. But by and large, I'll tell you, the best part about Brand are the people. Every town that we go to are so welcoming, and Brainerd's no different. Every time that we've been there, they want to put on the very best that they can, and they always have. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, and one of those people we're opening up to, right, is here with us today. Katie is a writer in Brand. How were you introduced to this event?
A couple of my girlfriends had done it the year before, and one of them, her family had done it for a number of years. So few generations involved with it, but I ride with two friends.
And were you a bicycle rider? I mean, were you an avid rider, or was this just kind of baptism by fire?
This was a idea that we came up with on New Year's, and we stuck to it.
No.
And we actually survived it. So.
That's not a bad resolution, though, when you're talking in terms of all the benefits that have been described here. Curiously, what type of, we saw the map earlier, what type of training goes into something like this? Because I would imagine you don't just get on your bike and start pedaling. There has to be some prep work involved, correct?
Yes, and the first year we did a fantastic job of it. Every year since, it's been a little bit different, just depending on the spring and our schedules, but we definitely ride every weekend. We try to get a couple rides in a week if it's possible, and we started with really short rides, like 10 miles, like just in Omaha riding the Keystone, and then we built up about 10 miles each week after that, so that before we ride Brand, we've at least done a couple 60 to 70 to 80 mile rides. So, and I think by that time, like especially after the first year, you have a little bit of muscle memory to get back into it for next year, but don't depend on that, because it definitely takes me some preparation.
Well, and it's a big chunk of time too when you get into the ride itself. I would imagine there are many people out there who would like to participate, but they're concerned about taking an entire week, right? And as to what you said, there's prep time, but there's also probably some post time too. You've just come off of a really great week. So talk in terms of, that type of planning too. It's not just physical, but you've got to get things together, in your regular life.
Yeah. So first thing is you need to put the mileage in before the ride just to get your body used to it, specifically your rump. You've gotta feel comfortable and know that you're capable of riding that distance first, and then to string all those days together, yes, you're going to be sore, and you have to be very careful about hydration, especially. So we do a good job as a group with all of those kind of safety measures and making sure that hydration and eating well from all the hospitality of our wonderful towns, that we're in good shape to get through the week. And then the day after, you kind of have to expect to just sleep for the day, or at least I do. Yeah. So there's a little recovery time too.
Most interesting person you've met along the way with Brand? And you don't have to say a name if you don't want to, other than maybe Wes and Tom, the most interesting person that you've met.
I think part of the reason I do it is to meet so many people, and especially like to learn about some of the communities that I've never been to, or I've lived in Nebraska a good portion of my life. So it's nice to know the rest of the state and to meet all of the diversity that our state entails. So.
She was talking about multi-generational, and I wanted to build on that a little bit.
Yes.
My dad, who is 80 years old, has had 3 heart attacks. He's had stents put in. He's had 3 hip replacements, has been on brand every year for the past 14 years. And so anyone who gives me the excuse of, I can't make it, I point towards my dad. My dad rides, I ride, my son has ridden, my nephew has ridden, my sister has rode the very first one. This has been multi-generational, and we see that over and over and over again, that there are families who are doing this ride and using that as their vacation. Because how else can you see Nebraska than from the seat of a bike? You're not going by so quickly that you miss anything.
That is a great point to bring up, because it's one thing to plan a formal vacation with your family. It's another to be on bikes and to have that time in the evening, that downtime where you're getting to know other people and you're kind of reconnecting as a family. So much for my question on who shouldn't participate. But in all seriousness, are there people who maybe should try a different event, or maybe just try a leg at a time, or how would you suggest they do that?
I wouldn't ever say that there's anyone who can't participate. We've had amputees participate. We've had people, my dad is not the oldest person riding, by the way. We have had single-digit year people, 8, 9 years old, ride this ride. I just can't think of a person who can't do brand if they set their mind to it. Understanding they only have to ride 10 miles at a time because we have that sag stop. What do you do at the sag stops?
Oh, snack and chat and rehydrate and connect with people. And I think that really that's something that's so special about brand, and it really does feel like a vacation, is that it's accommodating. It's very accommodating. It's multi-generational, but it's also very welcoming. And there are people that do the whole thing, and there are people that do less than the whole thing, and there are people that have their family joining them at different stops, which I think you said you did with your, was it son and daughter?
With son and daughter, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So it's a very accommodating ride, and I think that people do it for all different reasons.
Well, and Katie brings up a good point. Are there percentages really of what you have when you start versus what you have when you end, or does that just vary?
We advertise this as a week-long ride, and unless someone comes to pick them up, they're not getting home unless they ride their bike. And so, are there people who drop out during the week? Absolutely. Life gets in the way sometimes, but those, by and large, we have most people finish who start.
Wes, I want to talk a little bit about safety here in terms of what you have numbers-wise, but then we're also talking about the age groups, but the equipment. You know, somebody may bring their bike and it may be as old as dirt, but they love that bike and that's been their thing, forever. So what do you have in terms of safety measures in place?
Love that question, because we have a wonderful record in safety. We have 3 trucks, big yellow trucks, that go up and down the highway all day long as riders are on the road, and they are checking with everyone. Are you okay? If they've stopped alongside the road, they stop. They check, you need a bicycle tire fixed, we can fix your tire. Are you just so tired you can't go on? Let us call someone else. We have sag stops every 10 miles. So we have 4 or 5 sag stops daily where people can rehydrate. We have cookies, candy bars, peanuts, nuts, fruit, watermelon, just a range of goodies along the way. We also have what we call the meat wagon, but what it is the sweeper, and it's a long trailer that holds 20 bikes. So anybody who breaks down during the day or just feels like they can't finish that day, we can put their bike on this trailer, put them in air conditioning, take them to the next town. We have cell phones, we have satellite phones in case there's an emergency and we're in the middle of no place, can't get connected, we can call and get that ambulance if needed. We drive the route 4 times before we ever put a rider on the road to make sure that we know where the crossings for the railroads are, we know where the hospitals are, we know who to contact in each county for emergency services, we know who to contact and who's contacting us in case there's tornado or inclement weather. We are just really proud of our safety record. We have never lost a rider, and there are very few state rides that can say that.
Wow, that's impressive, especially when you think about the logistics involved with something like this and what you mentioned earlier about so many volunteers. You know, and Katie, I would imagine this really does promote watching each other's backs.
Yes.
Right? So at the
Yeah.
beginning of that ride, maybe you've spotted somebody that you're going to kind of have be your buddy. You're going to watch out for that person. Yeah.
And I think at the rider meeting at the very beginning of the week, you can definitely feel that they have all the strategies worked out of how to teach people how to ride first, what to expect on the road, what to expect each day, some strategies for how to ride that day. Everything is meant for you to have a wonderful day, each and every single day. So it feels very welcoming and possible and healthy, and everyone's happy.
Gosh, Tom, I'm just thinking about these host towns, you know. It's kind of a blink of an eye. You put so much effort into gearing up for the arrival. They're there how many hours generally? I mean, in looking back last year?
Well, the first riders came in before noon, probably some about 11, I think, or maybe even a bit earlier. They came from Aurora last year, so that was about 80 miles, 85 miles. And most people came in probably 2, 3 o'clock, and probably the last people came in at 6, and there were only a few that came in that late. And then there were dinners available, and a cafe and a bar and a winery northeast of town that people enjoyed. And then the next morning, the first people took off about probably 4:30, and there was a breakfast that morning, and probably the last people left 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
And those of
Yeah.
you who have spent months and months preparing kind of look around and think, wow, what just happened here, right?
It goes fast. We, the community club kind of provided leadership in organizing for Brand last year. And we had 4 meetings. The first meeting was in January, and representatives of Brand came out to give us guidance. And then we had a couple more meetings on our own, and then we had the last meeting probably in earlier mid-May. And again, we asked reps from Brand to come out, and so we could show them the locations where we had things planned to see if they thought that was all right. And then any issues that we had, we talked about those, and that meeting really helped. And then we felt we were pretty well ready for Brand.
Wes, one person very instrumental in this event, not on set with us today. Tell us a little bit about Fred.
Fred Jallis is a wonderful resource to Brand as one of the other directors, and he puts together the route. He contacts the towns to make sure that they're willing to take us and go through the effort, because it's a huge amount of effort to put this on, and Fred does a wonderful job, and we thank him and his committee for doing what they do.
And he takes pictures,
He
right?
does
So
take
we're just
pictures.
going to put up, we did have a video at the top of the program, but we're going to put up some pictures now. We're just going to kind of run through those in a few minutes here that we have remaining. So, and they're in sequence. We have about 15 and we have about 90 seconds to go through these. So we'll just...
This is a rider meeting where we explain to everyone to ride in single file, to wear your helmet, to be respectful. We are ambassadors for bicycle riding across the state, and we emphasize that to all the riders. Do what's right because everyone's looking.
Okay.
This is the bag truck.
Yes, and if you get to see it this way, you are in great shape. When you come in, the bags have usually been unloaded by those people that arrived at 11, but I've never seen it look quite that nice.
This the semi takes the bags from town to town so the riders don't have to carry their things. This is just on the road, and this was what a lot of people see is people going by them. But you'll see that we stay to the right.
You do?
Yes.
I see that,
Yep.
yeah.
And
we'll
we
keep-
try and stay off the road or as close to that white line. Sometimes the shoulder's not in as good a shape as what the road is, but the riders move to the shoulder when traffic is heavy. Oh, this is just a town who is saying, welcome, we're glad you're here, go that way and don't get lost.
Yep.
Some
People
riders.
Just enjoying,
Yep.
yeah.
Happy people.
Yep.
This is one
Feeding,
of the
Tom.
feeding.
Again, happy people.
Okay.
This is the campground, or a campground, that we see every night. If we have inclement weather and we have to get all these people out, we have people designated to walk from tent to tent to make sure that they're in a safe spot.
Awesome. We're just going to keep going through till the end here, just so folks can get a good idea, just in the interest of time. So we'll have Mike continue through those for us. And I wanna
As you're
thank
going
Mike.
through those pictures, if I can, what Brand does with our money is $27,000 yearly in scholarship to Nebraska students going to Nebraska trade schools, colleges, universities. In our 33 years up to this point, we have given almost $1 million to Nebraska students to go to Nebraska schools, to keep them here, and to just put back into our community.
Wow, that is awesome. All right, now, if people want to sign up briefly, what do they do?
Go to brandinc.com, Brand Facebook page. There's just so many ways that you can go there. You can go to northwestrotary.com. They all have links. So please, please join us.
Okay, awesome. And Katie, in about 15 seconds, final thoughts to get people pumped about this.
Oh, join it. There are wonderful people on this ride. It's a ton of fun, and you'll be smiling all week.
Tom, anything to add?
Well, it's a great way for towns to showcase themselves and have a good time and work together and build some community spirit.
Outstanding. And here is that information. We're talking Brand 34 today, June 8th through the 14th, brand-inc.org. It sounds like so much fun, and one of these years I'm going to do it. Katie's kind of inspired me. Tom's getting me
this year.
hungry. And Wes, you're just a great spokesperson all the way around. Best wishes to all of you.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
for being
Okay,
here.
well, thank you.
You bet. And thank you all for watching. We will see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information can be found at unotv.unomaha.edu. If you'd like to share your comments about this show, call UNO TV at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or email us at considerthis@tvmail.unomaha.edu.